Former WWE superstar Ronda Rousey has brutally addressed current WWE Executive Director Bruce Prichard, former WWE Executive Vice President of Talent Relations John Laurinaitis, as well as the casting couch culture in WWE in her latest book. We've got all of the quotes from that. An update on Matt Cardona and his status with TNA Wrestling over some events that have transpired this weekend. Roman Reigns puts down the idea he could be set to retire in the near future from WWE. Plus, we have the categories and nominations for the upcoming WWE Slammy Awards. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there's plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's start off talking about Ronda Rousey, who hasn't held back when it comes to comments about Bruce Prichard, John Laurinaitis, as well as WWE and its former chairman, Vince McMahon. Now, Rousey, as I mentioned, is holding nothing back as she gives her honest assessment. Let's start off talking about current WWE executive Bruce Prichard. Now, Ronda Rousey left WWE after SummerSlam last year, where she had a final match against longtime friend Shayna Baszler. Since then, Rousey has been less than complimentary about the company and some of those that sit at the top of it during her tenure with WWE. Now, Ronda Rousey has already claimed that Bruce Prichard is Vince McMahon's avatar and suggested that as long as Prichard is working in the company, then McMahon will always have a voice despite being forced to resign amid the ongoing scandal and allegations levied against him by former WWE employees. Now, writing in her new book, Our Fight, released on April 4th, and now available for pre-order, Rousey lifted the lid on her experiences in WWE, and it's safe to say she has nothing good to say about Bruce Prichard. Rousey explained how the he said, she said world of WWE led to one star being upset, thinking nobody wanted to work with them, and she holds Prichard responsible. Here's what Rousey had to say about it. She said, quote, "A few weeks later, I was rehearsing in the ring with some of the other girls before doors opened to the fans, when Liv, that being Liv Morgan, made a beeline to the ring from Gorilla. 'Have you seen Aaliyah?' she asked. We shook our heads. Aaliyah had come up to SmackDown the year before. She had partnered with Raquel Rodriguez and they'd briefly held the tag team titles, but then Aaliyah was sidelined with a shoulder injury. I just ran into her, almost hysterically crying," she explained. "She was asking if it's true that none of the talent wants to work with her. We exchanged confused looks. Why would she think that?" I asked. "They wanted her to come back from her shoulder injury right away, but she said she needed more time. That's when Bruce Prichard told her that all the producers were trying to bury her and no one wanted to work with her. She was really upset. I felt my jaw and fist clench at the mere mention of his name. Bruce Prichard was another Vince McMahon crony. If what did you say you do here was a person, it would be him. No one knew what exactly his job was or how he got it. He was the type of guy who carries a briefcase just so it looks like he's doing something. Yet somehow he'd wormed his way up to executive producer, handpicked by Vince because he knew Bruce was the kind of guy you could control from a distance through an earpiece." "Why would anyone say that to Aaliyah?" Bailey asked. "Everyone loves her." Bruce Prichard was loitering behind one of the announcer tables. "Let's go effing tell him right now," I said. I stepped between the ropes and out the ring. Liv scrambled to catch up with me. Bailey followed. "You're coming in real hot," Liv said with a nervous nasal laugh. "Just let me talk first, Kay?" "Okay," I said. I took a step back, letting her take the lead. "Hi, yes, hello sir," she said hesitantly. "Is it okay if we talk to you about something for a second?" He looked up at us with the expression of a man who was annoyed to be interrupted by a bunch of chicks until he saw my even more bothered expression. He pivoted to a forced smile. "Sure." "So," Liv started sweetly, cocking her head to one side. She spoke with the accent of a Jersey girl and the cadence of a Valley girl. "Well, we just want to, tell you that we heard something and we don't know who's talking, but we really love Aaliyah and we don't know who's speaking for us or anything like that. But any complaints about her are not coming from any of us. We love her. We love working with her and she's the best." I stood behind Liv, my arms crossed like an enforcer. Bruce's strained grin held. He had the air of a failed used car salesman. I cleared my throat to send a message, not because I needed to cough. And I would really appreciate it if you weren't taking other people's word at face value and speaking for us, I said slowly. In fact, I would appreciate it if you didn't talk to anyone about what we said unless we said it to you. You have a question about that, you talk to us. He nodded too enthusiastically. I love Aaliyah, he almost shouted. She's great. Yeah, I have no idea where that came from. He looked around as if he was actually looking for someone to pin the blame on. The other girls and I exchanged, can you believe this guy looks? I'll talk to her, he said, as if to say it was all a misunderstanding. I nodded, lingering just a little bit longer than the other ladies once they turned to leave. I'd make sure to give Aaliyah a hug next time I saw her, I thought to myself, but I never saw Aaliyah again. After that night, she all but disappeared, as if she vanished into thin air, even long after her shoulder had healed. It sent a clear message, in the organization's eyes, talent was disposable. Now, when it comes to Rousey's comments as well, as I mentioned, they weren't just only Bruce Prichard, they were also related to the former Executive Vice President of Talent Relations, that being John Laurinaitis, and his tenure as well. Now, particularly when it comes to what happened during Triple H's absence from the company as he was dealing with his health issues and what that meant for NXT, because of course NXT was one of WWE's most striking success stories in recent years, and now Ronda Rousey has lifted the lid on the backstage shenanigans that saw Vince McMahon take control of Triple H's baby. Of course, in the fall of 2021, WWE was rocked by Triple H requiring emergency heart surgery that took him away from his role for several months. During his absence, Vince McMahon's tentacles took over NXT and introduced NXT 2.0. That format, whilst releasing several members of the brand's backstage team that were Triple H's guys really, including the likes of Samoa Joe, William Regal, Road Dogg, and others. Now, writing in her new book, Our Fight, Ronda Rousey detailed the turbulent time in WWE history and thinks it was McMahon's cronies that made the move to take Triple H's NXT out of his hands. Here's what she had to say about that and how it relates to John Laurinaitis. She said, quote, NXT, which had been Triple H's domain, had been caught in the ongoing family dispute between him and Vince McMahon. Vince's unwillingness to give up any control made progress on the main roster all but impossible. But operating out from under Vince's thumb, Triple H had built NXT into a brand that was not only developing WWE's next generation, but producing some of the organization's best and most innovative wrestling. People were excited about NXT in a way that they weren't about Raw and SmackDown's constant reliance on rehashing the same formulaic storylines over and over. As NXT grew and it became apparent that there was potential to expand and profit from it, suddenly it became attractive to Vince. In the fall of 2019, WWE launched a weekly NXT show slated to go head-to-head on air with AEW. Now, NXT was on the up and up, but so too was AEW. Then, Triple H almost died, suffering from heart failure and requiring surgery. He stepped away to deal with his health, and in his absence, Vince's crony saw an opportunity. NXT was losing the ratings battle to AEW. They whispered to Vince. Now, Rousey then takes aim at the former head of talent relations, John Laurinaitis, who she has claimed was actually running NXT in Triple H's absence. And it's safe to say Rousey is no fan of Laurinaitis, but said his failure running the brand was actually systematic of the wider problems in WWE. She continued by saying, changes needed to be made, which is how John Laurinaitis, a former wrestler turned WWE executive and all-around dirtbag, ended up running NXT. Laurinaitis had made a name for himself as an average but by no means outstanding wrestler before he moved into playing an in-ring authority figure type and then a producer. He looked and acted like an entitled 60-year-old former frat boy. Tall, blondish, and with a cleft chin, he always appeared to be scowling even when he smiled. His raspy voice earned him the nickname Johnny Laurinaitis, which is one of the nicer things people called him. Whereas Triple H looked for talent and potential in NXT prospects, it appeared John Laurinaitis looked for affability. He further purged the NXT roster, firing it seemed like everyone over 25 and turning recruiting attention away from the indie recruits in favor of blonde sorority types from places like the universities of Florida and Tennessee. putting the blame for the decline on Laurinaitis, which Vince would basically try and do a few months later, would be easy, but Laurinaitis was only a symptom of what was wrong within WWE. Honestly, the actual drama was so much better than anything WWE could ever script. Now, Rousey would then go on to really go into what is making the headlines right now, and that is this casting couch kind of culture that you're seeing in WWE, or certainly has been put out there in recent lawsuits and allegations. And she's taken no prisoners as she accuses WWE of operating a casting couch and says there are scandals she is sure the company has swept under the rug. Now, Vince McMahon, of course, is facing sexual assault and sex trafficking allegations as part of a bombshell lawsuit that has rocked WWE. As a result, Vince McMahon was told to resign from his role as TKO executive chairman, TKO Group Holdings being WWE's parent company, and the company has done everything it can to distance itself from its most iconic figure. While rumours of McMahon's conduct have long been discussed by those in and out of the business, the lawsuit seems to have brought a full stop to his time in the wrestling business, with his reputation in tatters, whether illegality has taken place or not. Writing in her new book, Our Fight, Ronda Rousey gives her take on the culture in the company in regards to its female athletes over the years, and suggests sex was used by management to give women a leg up. This is what she had to say on this. She said, quote, WWE loves to do well-produced video segments about the legacy of women within the organization. But the truth is, women have largely been footnotes. For the longest time, they were relegated to serving male characters in a valet role, an overly sexualized supporting character that takes cheap shots when the ref isn't looking. Over time, as the level of female talent grew and as society as a whole started to shift, the organization gradually expanded the role of female wrestlers. WWE builds itself as a sports entertainment organization, and just like in the mainstream entertainment industry, there was, by all accounts, a casting couch culture where men backstage in powerful positions pressured female talent for sexual favors in return for airtime. There were so many public accusations and scandals it's hard to keep track, and the more I'm sure WWE managed to sweep under the ring. Women weren't just being demeaned backstage, but center stage. Up until 2007, bra and panties matches, where female wrestlers won the match by stripping their opponent down to her underwear, were an actual effing thing. Even after that gimmick was retired by WWE executives, I'm sure very reluctantly and with a lot of lamenting about political correctness, it was still clear that the organization placed more value on a woman's physical appearance than her physical ability. The Divas era, with its pink rhinestone butterfly title belt, dawned around the same time. Women, while now portrayed as wrestlers, were still expected to look a certain way, think lots of makeup, little clothing, and huge boobs. It would take almost another decade, years after I proved women could be huge combat sports attraction, before women truly started to get time in the squared circle, what diehards call a pro wrestling ring. And it was only after WWE was basically armbarred into it following a global social media backlash to give divas a chance, after divas were given a total of 30 seconds, less time than it takes most people to read this paragraph, for a nationally televised tag match. 4 women were given less time to collectively wrestle than every single man on the roster got for his intro music alone. Presented this information as a person outside of the wrestling world, you might draw the conclusion that there is a troubling, foundational, sexist, patriarchal culture within the WWE, and you'd be right. I have nothing but respect for the female wrestlers who paved the way for women wrestlers today, and nothing but disgust for the amount of sexist, degrading bullshit that they were put through. So what do you make of Ronda Rousey's comments here and quotes? What do you make of what she said about Bruce Prichard, about John Laurinaitis, as well as about the culture in WWE? Is she right? What are your thoughts? Let me know, as always, in the comment section below. Now, spoilers ahead when it comes to some TNA content that's going to be coming up in the future pertaining a return to the roster. So I'll give you an opportunity to skip ahead. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's talk about Matt Cardona making his return to TNA Wrestling. Now, Matt Cardona is apparently always ready, but he is still a free agent. Steph DeLander, one half of the super popular act of the year on the independent scene with Matt Cardona, made her return to TNA Wrestling at Friday's tapings in Philadelphia. During the match, the other half of the pairing, that being Matt Cardona, ran in to help her, landing a radio silence. Now, there has been much made about TNA Wrestling offering per-date deals or contracts to talent as of late, which has actually worked to Matt Cardona's favor. He and the company parted ways over a year ago, as he did not want to sign a full-time exclusive contract with them. Now, Fightful say they reached out to Cardona, who's confirmed he is still a free agent and on a per appearances agreement with the company. He said, quote, always, then, now, forever, quote me on that. So he's always ready, and he is always, as he has been since he left AEW, a free agent. Now, Roman Reigns, he has shut down the possibility of retirement in the near future. Roman Reigns is on the verge of a record-breaking WrestleMania, but it seems he's got a lot left in the tank. As WWE fans have seen over the past 20 years, a full-time star can turn into a part-time star before hanging up their boots completely. Although Roman Reigns is still the undisputed WWE Universal Champion, he is working more of a part-time schedule, leading many to believe that despite having time on his side, he may see his future outside of the wrestling ring. But fans of the Tribal Chief may not need to worry. Speaking on the Pat McAfee show, Roman Reigns was asked about his future in wrestling, and he said he doesn't see his career ever ending. He said, quote, yeah, I'm just scratching the surface. I'm still experimenting and figuring stuff out. I'm 38 years young. I'm a young man. I have so much stuff to do. If we were able to do this in 4 years, imagine what we can conquer in another decade. The work has been put in. The skin still looks good. I don't see it stopping any time. We're about to set more records WrestleMania weekend with the main events. We're chasing landmarks and different history marks with the title reign. There's so much history left to make. I don't see it ever ending. So Roman Reigns saying he's got no plans to end his WWE tenure anytime soon. And finally, the Slammy Awards are returned, and we now know what the categories and nominees are going to be for the Slammy Awards as well. Of course, as previously confirmed, the 2024 Slammies, the Fans' Choice Awards, will be presented during the World at WrestleMania Fan Experience on Sunday, April 7. Now, the official nominations have now been announced for 11 categories, and fans can vote online. Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns were both nominated for Male Superstar of the Year, alongside Seth Rollins, Gunther, and Logan Paul. For Female Superstar, Rhea Ripley, Bayley, Bianca Belair, Io Sky, and Becky Lynch were nominated. The Best Match category is an interesting one as well, with Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest, Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn, Gunther versus Chad Gable, Asuka versus Charlotte Flair versus Bianca Belair, and Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley, all receiving nominations. Other categories announced included Best Entrance, Breakout Star, and Return of the Year. So as I mentioned, let's go through the categories. Female Superstar of the Year is Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Bayley, Io Sky, Becky Lynch. Male Superstar of the Year is Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, Seth freaking Rollins, Gunther, and Logan Paul. Best Entrance is Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, Bianca Belair, Seth freaking Rollins, Rhea Ripley, Becky Lynch, The Rock, and Dominic Mysterio's entrance at WrestleMania 39. Return of the Year involves CM Punk, The Rock, Nia Jax, Randy Orton, and Naomi. Faction of the Year involves The Judgment Day, Alpha Academy, Imperium, The Bloodline, and Damage Control. Rivalry of the Year is Seth freaking Rollins versus Drew McIntyre, Dirty Dominic Mysterio versus Rey Mysterio, Bianca Belair versus Damage Control, Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes, and R-Truth versus The Judgment Day. NXT Superstar of the Year, the nominees are Ilya Dragunov, Carmelo Hayes, Lyra Valkyria, Tiffany Stratton, and Bron Breakker. Match of the Year is Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest in the San Juan Street Fight from Backlash in 2023. Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn from Elimination Chamber in 2023. Gunther versus Chad Gable from the September 4th episode of Monday Night Raw. Asuka versus Bianca Belair versus Charlotte Flair from SummerSlam in 2023. And Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley from WrestleMania 39. The OMG Moment of the Year, the nominees are Rey Mysterio punches Dirty Dominic Mysterio from the March 24 episode of SmackDown in 2023. The CM Punk returns to WWE at Survivor Series. Io Sky cashes in the Money in the Bank contract from SummerSlam 2023. The Rock slaps Cody Rhodes at the WrestleMania 40 press conference. Damage Control turns on Bayley on the February 2nd edition of SmackDown from 2024. Cody Rhodes slaps The Rock from the March 8th, 2024 edition of SmackDown as well. Social Star of the Year, the nominees are Grayson Waller, Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre, Chelsea Green, and Liv Morgan. And Breakout Superstar of the Year is Jey Uso, Tiffany Stratton, Pretty Deadly, Dragon Lee, and LA Knight. So let me know your thoughts, predictions as to who's going to win all of those awards in the comment section below. There you go, guys. Latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Bottom right hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.